Hi, I'm your host, Althea with She Vets It, and today we have a wonderful lineup. We have the ladies from Veterans Who Sew, and I'm so excited to have them here. And let's get started and jump in. We have our guest, Miss Chris, that's here. Hi, Chris, how are you?
Hi, Thea. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. And so you are the craft therapy and you are one of the founders of Veterans Who Sew. So
Yeah.
welcome to She Vets It.
Thank you.
Yes, so let's get started and let's talk about Veterans Who Sew and how did that get started?
Okay. So, Veterans Who Sew started, and in fact, a year ago this month. Um, but I'll give you a little bit of a backstory before I get into it. I started sewing after I retired from the Air Force in 2016, and it was I needed something to do. I needed an outlet, to be perfectly honest with you. Retiring from the Air Force left a void in my life, and I was really trying to find my way after I retired. I thought that, retirement was going to be glitz and glamour, but I found out pretty soon after that, there was a mourning time that I wasn't prepared for. And so I eventually learned to sew. And as I was navigating through the sewing community, trying to connect with other sewists, I really wasn't I didn't feel that I was connecting in the way that I'd made connections in my military career. And one thing that I'm certain of is if you don't have what you need, you go out and you create it. And so I wanted to bring together a group of women, a group of people, sewists, seamstresses like myself, who had served in the military, who had similar experiences, who could relate, and who were looking for that community. And so I'd reached out to Michelle, the owner of Sewn Magazine, it was in 2022. And I asked her if she'd had an interest in doing a magazine for veterans. And she said that she'd never done it, but she was interested and to contact her the next year. And so the next year I reached out to her again and said, hey, how about that issue of Veterans Magazine? And she said, you know what, if you find the people, we can do the magazine. And I didn't know a lot of other veterans in the sewing community, but I did know Rochelle, who's not with us today. And so I reached out to Rochelle and she knew others. And so from there, we just started reaching out to other veterans, almost like a recall roster in a way. And that's how we kind of formed our group.
Chris was sharing about starting Veterans Who Sew. So we just brought some of the ladies, Miss Tanya Bryant and Oneika Brown, Anecia Branch-Robinson. So they're here, they're part of the group. But this is not everyone, right, Chris?
Right. There was 12 of us.
Oh, 12, 12, 12. Awesome. Okay, so what I'll do is go around and share what branch everyone's from and how they got connected and heard about Veterans Who Sew. And so, Miss Tanya.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So, how did I hear about Veterans Who Sew? I think Rochelle reached out to me. She slid in my DMs, Chris reached out to me as well. Wanted to see if I wanted to be a part of this magazine, and I was like, sure. It's always been a dream to be a part of somebody's magazine, so I decided to join the group.
Onika.
Hi, thanks for having me. So, I have not a good memory, but I think I remember in my DMs on Instagram. I think it was Chris, because when you're in this community, it's small, so you don't know you're scrolling through Instagram and you're seeing things, and then you just follow people. You don't even know if you'll ever talk to them. And I think I remember seeing a message from her about Veterans Who Sew. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I know a couple. So like she said, it became a recall roster. So I just reached out to the ones that I knew and was like, hey, if you know anybody else, can you pass it along? So that is how I found out about Veterans Who Sew.
Awesome. And Miss Anecia.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yes, I too was connected with Rochelle for a while. She and I had communicated a lot on other things, and she mentioned it. And of course, I said yes. And she connected me with Chris, who, yeah, we've all just been together ever since then. So, yeah, I was so grateful for Michelle, who allowed us all the opportunity to be in the magazine. And some of us since then we've been in another issue of that magazine. So yeah, this opportunity has grown for us as a group.
Wow. Well, okay, so let's go into how did you feel when your the first issue that you were in, like what did that mean to you individually? And anyone can chime in.
For me, it was to have an opportunity to be in the magazine. I'd done a previous issue, and I was definitely grateful, and I enjoyed the experience. But to have this experience with women veterans, that was a different level. To have gone through this, and again, we've been together for a year now. This month has been a year. And so to find other women and to be a part of the magazine, to share our stories, and to really share the therapeutic benefits of sewing, it was incredible.
I totally second what Chris says. And on another level for me though, uh, I remember one of the things that was said once the group was chosen. Michelle had sent out an email to I think everybody, and just saying that, even before we were narrowed down, she was just like, she still has to look at the work. It's not just because you're, a veteran and sews, like there still was some vetting as far as what work you did. And for me personally, I just remember getting a message that, I've seen your IG, and I don't, mine's isn't really curated or whatever. I mean, I'm just sewing, and it was a validation that I had the skill to actually be in a magazine, which needs to be on shelves, not just because we're in it, but it's a very beautiful magazine. And people have asked, hey, where can I get it? And I'm like, one day you'll be able to pick it up in stores. But yeah, being in that magazine just for me validated my skills as a seamstress.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, my job after I got out of the military, I'm a school counselor for high school students. And so I have a sewing club that we meet at lunchtime. And I brought the magazine to school and showed them. And they were like, Miss, you're famous. This is lovely. We can't believe you're in a magazine. You should frame this. We got to show the whole school. So they were super excited. So that made me happy. It made my day to bring it and show it to them. And so, yeah, they're so proud of their counselor, Miss Robinson. She's been featured in a magazine.
I was excited because my son is the one who actually took my photos. So I think I was more excited for him to see his name in the book, that he was my photographer. And then, when I was young, I used to imagine myself being in like Essence or the Ebony magazine. I was like, okay, this is my chance, my opportunity to shine a little bit. So I was just more excited for my son than actually for myself. So.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Now, my next question is, how has it been therapeutic for you?
Wow. How I think it's almost, how has it not been therapeutic in a way? Sewing for me is it's relaxing. It's as Oneika said a moment ago, it's validating. It gives me an opportunity. It, to me, when I'm sewing, it connects me with God. It's quiet, it's peaceful, and it just reminds me of how God takes something that looks like nothing and makes it into a masterpiece. And so when I'm sewing, there's a oneness with God that's happening for me in that moment. And no matter what's going on around me or within me, there's there's this serenity that I feel. So sewing is it's my daily medication.
I love that. And you know what? I think you're going to entice other people to start sewing with that.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yes. Miss Tanya.
Yeah, so I started sewing about 3 years ago, and at the same time, I had started a new job. And the job was just so disorganized. And me coming from the military, I needed some structure. And starting sewing, I felt that structure. If you're looking at a pattern, you're going step by step. And then to be celebrated at the end of it, to say, "Ooh, look what I have created." Because at my job, I was just feeling like, how do I get to the end? How do I prove myself, to these new people at this new job? But with sewing, I could see my results right away. Every time I would finish something, I felt like accomplished, and I needed that at the time. So yeah, that's a little of my story there.
Awesome. Anecia.
Yeah, so I feel like the space that you're in it makes it calming too. So I see like Onika's space in the background. I see Chris's and Tanya's. It looks like this is the place where they create. I, however, am on vacation, so this is not my normal space where I can be creative, but it's calming to be in a space where you can close the door, and just be one within yourself. And whether you listen to music or you can watch TV and create at the same time, but I just feel calm when I'm in that space, and I can do whatever I want to do when I'm in there. I have made a point, like you guys know, for yourselves in moving around, that you have to just carve out maybe like a small space if you don't have the room. But this time I have a real whole room with all my stuff in it, and it's just a beautiful place to be. And I don't have to worry about little kids coming in because I don't have little kids anymore. It's just my space, and it's just a good place to be, especially on the weekends after working with students all week. I can just come on the weekend, Saturday morning, get up and go in there and finish a project, start a project. But in the end, like they said, having someone say, like, "Oh, that's so pretty," and you go, "Oh, I made this." Thank you, I made this.
Oneika.
So again, everything the lady said, yeah, and after retiring, I was sewing as I was in the military, but it was more like explorative. But it wasn't until I was going through something mentally, and I had an issue with ruminating, and it is literally like there's a reel just playing in your head over and over and over, to the point there would be days I'm like, man, how did I even drive home? Because this thing is just in the back of my mind all the time. But when I would sit at the sewing machine, I could focus, and there was nothing else I could think about except what was in front of me, what I was working on, and it just took me away from like that reeling in my head. And so there, like Chris said, this is like my medicine every single day. And there are days like if I were on vacation right now, or still have little kids playing sports and things like that, there are days where I may go maybe 2 days where I can't get in my room, but I literally feel it physiologically in my body that I need to do something. So even if we're at a game, I have to pack a little cross stitch thing. I just have to be doing something with a needle and thread. And oh, this is so funny. So we had a tournament last weekend, and I literally was like, yo, they got a plug over there. If I'm gonna be in this gym for 4 or 5 hours, I can get a little table and just sit in the corner and finish something. And because I have to be on my machine at least daily.
Okay, Anika, I have something for you. I have some clothes that need to be stitched, that need to be put together. So I'm going to send them your way just in case you get bored. I got some projects for you. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I love it. Okay, did I get everyone's? What branch were you in?
I served 20 years in the Air Force. I learned to sew after I retired. I really needed an outlet, and sewing just really became that thing for me. It really helped me to get through that first year, because as we all know, after you leave the military, you leave behind a huge part of who you are, who you were. And so sewing really helped me to just kind of reconnect with this new person that I was becoming. And I'm so grateful to have found that skill.
Awesome. Miss Tanya.
So I served in the Army for 21 years. And about 3 years ago, a friend of mine gave me a sewing machine. And I was tapping back into the days when I was in junior high school taking home economics. And that's when I first learned how to sew. And then going to college for fashion marketing, I took a sewing class. So I was able to tap into that creativity again, which I loved so much. So that's how I got started in sewing.
Awesome. Oneika.
So I served 20 years in the Air Force. I didn't really seriously start sewing till about maybe 4 years before I retired, but I learned like Tanya did in home economics in junior high, but I hadn't picked up a sewing machine since. But the last probably 3 to 4 years of my career is when I was seriously sewing, and definitely the therapeutic part of it took a role as I was nearing retirement and in through retirement. And now sewing has not only been therapeutic, a passion, but it's also going to be, it's like a new career for me. So
I was in the Army. I spent 6 years in the Army, and then I got out and became a professional school counselor, high school, working with students. And that's where I brought back my love of sewing once I got out of the military and decided to pick it back up, because I learned how to sew when I was in high school and stopped sewing for a long time. And then once I got out and stopped moving around so much, that's when I picked it back up. And it's like riding a bike. Once you learn, you never forget.
I love it. Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you, ladies, for just sharing your story and enlighten me on sewing. Because now you have me want to dust off my sewing machine. Uh, Also, I definitely want to stay connected with you. I'll definitely put your information out there for those that would like to join. And I'll have Oneika, Anecia, Tanya, and Chris. And we also have Rochelle that's not here today. But please send my regards. Thank her so much for, connecting with us. And again, thank you so much for coming on. She Vets It.
For having us. Yes.
thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome.